Hello everybody, this is Sarahscopic and Eskalia, and we are watching us play Asphyxia. I got it that time. I got it.
Sarahscopic, Eskalia, Asphyxia.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. Alright, so we have to decide what to do with this, Dom Georgia Byron.
We are going to defend the shit out of Lillian.
Alright, let's do it.
Lillian's best wife. Okay, well, I thought we would do it better than that. Samantha's hands balled into fists. Her body was shaking.
That has nothing to do with this. Don't insult Lily like that.
She wished she had something more cutting to say, but she did not. Though Samantha was fairly good with words, they had a habit of leaving her when she needed them the most.
She's very good at writing.
Yes. Georgia, who always seemed to control, only smirked. You're still trying to defend her, even though she isn't around to appreciate it. How admirable. Maybe I'll tell Lily about your dog-like devotion, and she may pat your head.
Oh, well, again, she might like that.
Yeah. Well, given she doesn't want to talk to you anymore, that seems fairly unlikely, doesn't it? Georgia snorted. So tell me, as I have no reference point to go on, being fortunate enough to have never been so deluded in my life, how does it feel to be besotted with an ice princess so in love with her own genius she would sooner wax poetical over her own reflection than comfort you?
Whoa!
Said no one ever.
Said no one ever, but that is a bird!
Yeah. Samantha's face turned deep scarlet. Her whole body trembled like the flickering flame of a candle. Sensing and being sensitive towards Samantha's discomfort, a soft voice attempted to cut through George's ruthless remarks.
Oh.
Who's this character who I'm instantly in love with?
Do you want to voice her? Or do you want me to
I don't
voice?
have a voice that'll do that angel justice.
Let me see if I can.
Look at her. Look at the bandages. I hope she's clumsy and not being abused.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Now, let's all try to get along, shall we?
Oh, I love her.
Is that good enough voice?
Yeah, it'll work for her.
Okay.
The voice belonged to Persephone, known to all as Percy. You have a name like Persephone, and you're going
with Percy? Yeah,
and not
seriously.
Sephi?
Yeah.
Or Persephone, a beautiful name.
Beautiful, exactly.
Known to all as Percy Shelley, a gentle-looking girl who always bundled up in her oversized school sweater, even during the summer.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love her. Are you trying to tell me what to do, Percy?
No.
Although Percy's voice was quiet, there was a certain kind of determination to it. Oh, and she has determination? Yes. She was one of the few people who was capable of scolding Georgia when she had gone too far.
Oh.
I'm just saying that Samantha has a valid point. We will get this test done more quickly if we cooperate. After all, isn't that what school trips are all about? Miss Pope said it too. Forming bonds, new friendships, working as a team, even amongst people who, at a glance, may seem completely at odds with one another.
You don't think Miss Pope really believes all that, do you?
Well, I suppose not, but there is no reason why I can't believe it.
In theory, maybe, but theory never works out so well in real life. Percy pouted.
That's no good, Georgia. Your lazy cynicism is the reason why these theories never work. It's because you don't try.
I love her.
No, you do.
You mean if I learned to change my wicked ways, the whole world would become a peaceful utopia overnight?
Of course I don't mean that. I just think if you stop being so pessimistic, you could make a difference. Everybody holds the potential within themselves to make a change.
Yeah, sure, and that's why peaceful protest works so well, isn't it?
Ooh, that's a little too timely.
I wish you would stop being so prickly, Georgia. It's not necessary.
Oh my god.
Yes, for a so-called lady, you aren't very good at remembering your manners, Georgia.
Oh, do be quiet, Bobby. Your voice grates on me. Samantha surveyed the other three girls with a not entirely unfounded sense of trepidation. Of course, Miss Pope would put them together in such an obviously dysfunctional study group.
Okay, so these four. Oh, okay.
Everybody knew just how much Georgia and Roberta hated one another. Their intense animosity was a popular subject of gossip amongst the girls of St. Mary's, as the two competed over almost everything. Roberta couldn't even stand to be in the same room as Georgia, while Georgia delighted in trailing Roberta around like a poltergeist, always appearing whenever Roberta was at her lowest just to poke fun at her. Georgia seemed to delight in spreading misery and discord wherever she went. She was the kind of person who thrived on bitterness and hatred, just as flowers could not photosynthesize without the sunshine.
Jeez.
Unfortunately, because Samantha spent so much time in Roberta's company, Georgia's dislike of Roberta was often reflected upon Samantha, too. And to think, once Samantha had entertained notions that this field trip might have been enjoyable. Well, that was one delusion that had been thoroughly dashed.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
So, we are supposed to be examining the effects of glaciation in the surrounding area?
I feel like I'm turning into a glacier just standing here. Well, in that skirt, yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm going to walk around a little. I need to get blood flowing in my veins.
What would you need that for? I thought cold and ambiguously undead was part of your aesthetic.
This girl.
Swish!
Did talk.
It is, but even I have my limits. Pale and interesting is one thing, but catching pneumonia is another. Percy frowned. Percy frowned a lot, which was nothing short of a tragedy given how sweet her face was. It must have been because she spent so much time in Georgia's company. Georgia was very good at corrupting sweet, innocent things.
Oh! Okay. Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
Dom.
Although she's definitely the one more. She's like the sub in control is the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? She calls the shots, but she plays the sub. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She plays the part.
Yep.
Not that Persephone was entirely innocent.
Oh.
Well, given who she's named after.
Yeah.
Whenever she was brought in onto the subject of police brutality, the meat industry, increased student loans, or the deplorable way the government kept cutting benefits for the disabled, she became so vehement that she could stun even Georgia into silence.
Wow!
This is very timely.
I don't think we should walk around too much. It sounds like a bad idea.
So the writing that they use, favorite is spelled with a U, color is spelled with a U. It gives me the
And
impression.
center is R-E.
Yeah, so that's either British or Canadian.
Yeah.
But the politics definitely is American.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why? Where's your sense of adventure?
Oh, how sad she looks. Need I remind you, Georgia, we are on a school trip. There are certain guidelines that need to be followed. We can't go wandering off by ourselves. We might get separated from the other groups, and
She really
I
is the
don't
group
want us
mom.
getting lost. She really is. The only thing she and I don't have in common is she grates on people's nerves.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I do grate on people's nerves. I mean, like, she makes a lot of enemies
Yeah.
easily. That's my word I meant. I'm perfect and everything.
You would say that, Bobby. You're such a killjoy.
I'm not trying to be a killjoy. I'm just trying to be sensible.
Say what you want, but it all amounts to the same thing.
She's just mad because she won't go for her.
Yeah, because you can't make it happen.
Can't make her a new sub.
So the first activity we're meant to do is,
Percy frowned, holding the sheet Miss Pope had handed her close to her face. The wind was cold and it stung her fingers, blistering her knuckles so they turned pink. The worksheet flapped in the breeze as though desperate to escape from her grip. Samantha feared it would be whisked away, carried high overhead into the steely blue sky. I thought it was overcast.
Yeah. Well, steely blue.
If that happened, Miss Pope would undoubtedly find some way to blame her for it. It was inevitable. Miss Pope attributed almost everything that went wrong in class to Samantha, whether it was the projector not working, the photocopier refusing to print, or the fire alarm going off in the middle of class.
I'm wondering if I can't tell if Miss Pope is actually that weird or if that's just her anxiety showing, and Miss Pope has done that maybe once or twice as like either a joke or maybe she did blame her and she's just extrapolating.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Samantha sometimes wondered whether she should feel flattered that Miss Pope considered her a talisman of misfortune. Maybe it gave her a certain kind of power beyond her schoolgirl status, with her rocked-up socks in front of her face.
This wind.
Can't you hurry up, Percy? Tell us what we need to do so we can get it done with. And do it now, please. I'm going to die of exposure out here. Again, you should put a skirt, a longer
skirt on.
Also, you need to be nicer to me, or else we're not gonna go back into the room.
Yeah. Samantha didn't often like agreeing with Georgia. She found her an unpleasant kind of person, but she had to concede on this point. The wind whistled loud and hard, rushing through the denuded boughs of the trees so they trembled fearfully. The sky up above was choked with clouds, a thick, dark gray bower that threatened to offload biblical proportions of rain at any moment. Samantha shivered. The nape of her neck was unpleasantly exposed.
Oh.
I think this guy is much like Kota Hirano, who did Hellsing, but you can plainly tell that he got his start in porn. While this guy is doing a visual novel, he clearly got his start with smut fanfiction.
Yeah.
That was one of the advantages of having long hair. It kept you warm. Samantha had never needed to bother with scarves or hats before, thanks to her tangled mane of hair.
It is one of the reasons I actually like having longer hair, because when I was in high school, I had hair down to my waist, and yes, I wore that thing like a shawl.
Yeah, I had like military short hair for most of my life.
Yeah.
I like this more.
It's much prettier.
She wished she had had the foresight to wear a blouse with longer sleeves, or a cardigan. Unfortunately, she had been so busy that morning she'd just thrown on the first thing she had found crumpled on her bedroom floor.
Let's see. Our first activity is...
Beep. Beep.
Will you take this for a moment, Sam?
Oh, she's gonna lose it.
Oh, of course.
Samantha took the worksheet from Percy's hands. Then, with one expertly practiced motion, Percy fished her mobile out of her backpack.
It's called a cell phone.
Her tongue poking out of the corner of her mouth, her eyes narrowed in concentration. Percy read through her latest text message, then began to dash off a quick reply.
Is that what she looks like?
Georgia smirked as she peered over Percy's shoulder. Is your beau bothering you again, Percy? Percy's face flushed. She snapped her phone shut and held it to her chest, glaring at Georgia with unusual intensity.
Don't read my messages, they're private.
Even to me, your dearest and closest friend?
Especially to you.
Oh, and what's that supposed to mean?
Oh boy.
I have not been your friend all these years for nothing, Georgia. I know what you're like. You're utterly incapable of keeping secrets if you think they'll make for interesting stories.
This was, of course, completely the wrong thing to say to Georgia Byron.
Uh-oh.
Given she had been friends with Georgia for so long, Percy really should have known that herself. So it's a secret now, is it? That sounds awfully suspicious to me, Percy. What could you be saying, I wonder?
What does it matter? You never let me read your messages to your brother. Why should I let you read mine to my boyfriend?
That is because my messages to my dear brother, half-brother, let me remind you, are about family concerns. Your messages, however, are of a more salacious cast, correct?
Salacious?
Like matters of the physical.
Just stop it. Why must you try to make my relationship sound so sordid?
It is sordid, though, isn't it? Why else would a man and a woman be calling and texting each other at all hours?
Don't be so crass. Harry would never be so presumptuous. He's sweet and sensitive. He writes me poetry, Georgia.
Harry, Percy, Georgia?
Harry, Percy, Georgia.
We are a Ron, a Fred, and a Ginny away, right?
Ginny away, yeah, I think we are! Oh my god! Uh-oh!
All right, we're going to keep an eye on this and
Yeah.
see who else pops up here.
Oh, jeez. Go ahead.
And it is these men, the ones so narcissistic they fancy themselves poets, who are the very worst.
Not wrong!
Isn't that right, creator?
We're watching you.
We know you're watching this video.
Don't say those kinds of things about Harry. He's been having a rough time lately and has been feeling a little down.
Wait,
That's why...
and there's a Lily in this, too.
Yes, there is.
I was say, isn't Lily Harry's mom?
Yes, she is. I don't know if Samantha or Roberta, though.
Yeah, those two are
Not
mysteries.
sure.
I
There
don't
may
know.
be a Robert, I don't remember. I don't remember as Samantha or as Sam, but...
What was, what's, Ron's dad's name? Arthur. Arthur, yeah, okay.
I almost said Alfred. Arthur, yes.
Don't say those kinds of things about Harry. He's been having a rough time lately and has been feeling a little down. That's why he's been calling and texting me so much lately.
He must have been more than a little down, given how often he keeps sending you messages. Your phone was beeping so much on the bus, I couldn't focus on my book.
Oh, was it because of the beeping or because you were curious and jealous?
And I think it was because they were having phone sex. Of course, Georgia would be able to read on the bus. She was the kind of person who didn't get travel sick. She was just too self-assured to suffer from such an affliction.
Can you read while in a car?
No, probably not.
Oops. I grew up...
I can't do much of anything in a car. I can't even sleep.
Oh, jeez. I grew up, like, reading and sleeping in a car, but that's because our cabin is 5 hours away, and when you're a kid, you gotta find ways to entertain yourself.
We have a very strong bond, that's all. Harry tells me everything. That is how close we are. I know from the bottom of my heart that Harry is the one for me. My other self, my platonic egg, my soulmate, if you will.
Not platonic, that's the point, right?
Yeah, wait, what?
What?
Georgia sighed. She looked distinctly peeved, more exhausted than irate. For a smart girl, Percy, you can be awfully stupid sometimes.
What do you mean?
You're so idealistic. It's like you don't even live in the real world.
That's what you love.
Said Baroness Georgia
Georgia.
Byron VI. Despite your declarations that Harry is your soulmate, you've never even met him in real life. For all you know, he could be a serial rapist.
Woo! Okay, that escalated. Also, she's never met him in real life. That is kind of sketch.
Well,
I guess if there
online
was...
relationship.
That's true.
Could be.
That's true. But yeah, wow, why'd we go there, Georgia?
Yeah,
Why'd we go there?
That was rough.
Woo!
Don't say such horrid things. How can you even make that accusation? And so boldly, too. You don't know anything about him.
And neither do you, not really.
know enough. I am not a child, Georgia.
No, you are not, but between the two of us, who has the most experience with the opposite sex?
Well,
I believe you have the most experience with the same sex.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Exactly. And can't you see the warning signs?
Warning signs? What warning signs?
The guy keeps threatening to kill himself. Don't you think that's just a tiny bit manipulative? Just a tad?
Whoa! This got really dark. Cause yeah,
I would say if that's the case, never mind. I'm on George's side all of a sudden.
So now I am. I mean, I don't know the context. It's one thing if, like, he's saying, like, I'm going through a rough time or something. He's depressed and has suicidal thoughts. But if he's just saying, like, I'm gonna kill myself, especially if he's like, I'm gonna kill myself if you don't contact me back right now, run.
Yeah.
Run as far away as possible.
Yeah, get away from that.
Get away. That is emotional abuse. Any of my viewers who are watching this and going there, that is emotional abuse. Get some help. Trust me.
Because spoiler, if they're saying, I'm going to kill myself if you don't text back, they're not going to.
Yeah, well, that too. And also,
they're trying to control you.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
Get out. Anyway.
It isn't manipulative. He's just a very emotional person. He feels things deeply like I do. We're a perfect match.
My angel. Poor thing.
Oh my gosh.
Well, if he's as foolish as you are, perhaps that's true. Samantha watched the exchange between the two girls, occasionally broken by beeping from Percy's phone as another message from the mysterious Harry was beamed through the stratosphere.
Thanks.
She did not particularly want to get involved in matters of adolescent romance. She had enough worries of her own to deal with without prying into anybody else's. Roberta, however, did not seem to share Samantha's reservations. She was looking more and more impatient by the second, hands on her hips, foot tapping against the ground. Finally, it seemed she could take it no longer because she snapped.
Hey, I thought we had work to do. Can we save all this chatter for a more appropriate time?
No, I think we should help Percy.
Yeah, I think we need to talk to Percy, because
she needs an intervention.
Yeah, badly.
Oh.
Percy jumped, eyes wide. Had she forgotten where she was? Hurriedly, she opened her phone and finished her latest text, then sent it flying into the ether with a decisive click of a button. Then, once more, with a snap, she shut her fancy phone and slid it back into her bag.
I'm sorry, I got a little distracted.
I can see that much.
Sorry.
Samantha turned her head, short hair fluttering in the cold breeze as she searched for the rest of the class. Hopefully they hadn't fallen too behind. But...
They fell very behind.
Samantha looked to the left. She looked to the right. She turned about in a neat 360-degree circle, inspecting her surroundings. She did the hokey pokey, and she took it all about. But there was nobody else there.
Oops.
Their fellow classmates had vanished into thin air, swallowed by the hills and valleys of the sprawling countryside. Did that mean they had been left behind? Finally, the horror game started.
You're right. Jeez, took forever.
Samantha bit her lower lip. The color bled from her face until her cheeks became ashen. Samantha had always loved the countryside. She had pleasant memories of living in the south, in the small village of Ottery St. Mary, until the day her mother had decided to send her to an all-girls boarding school out in the middle of London.
Okay, so it takes place in London.
It smells like an animu.
Yep.
But just as much as Samantha had loved growing up in the countryside, she knew how, well, dangerous it could be. Samantha could still remember that unforgiving night she had spent alone, out amongst the fields, curled up in a corner of a disused cowshed.
What? Why?
She must have gotten lost.
Yeah.
She had quarreled with her older sister, and the argument had escalated. Foul names had been exchanged, hair had been pulled, and arms had been scratched.
Yikes.
Fearful that her mother would punish her for her misconduct, Samantha had later fled. She ran out into the surrounding fields, even though the darkness was beginning to close in. She had shivers fitfully and fallen in and out of hazy, feverish dreams, curled up in the corner of that dilapidated cowshed with a hole in the roof.
Yikes.
When the morning broke, she had been so frozen through with cold she had been unable to stand. If she hadn't been discovered by a passing rambler, Samantha feared to think what might have happened to her. She could have died.
Yeah, what?
And so it was that the moment Samantha realized they were stranded, she started to do what she did best. Panic.
Yep. Alright, we're gonna save that, though, for the next episode, because we're running close on time, and this seems to be another long section where we're lost.
Great.
Great, so now we know that Percy's in a emotionally abusive relationship, and, this is getting real dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone where it's like, oh, this seems like it's okay. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you're enjoying this, and remember, peace, joy, love, and koi, everybody. Really. Mwah.